Hi, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our broadcast. And if I sound a bit uh, out of it, well, let's just say it's been a long day and we have a lot to do. So sit back, relax, enjoy the next hour as we'll take you around the world of sports and entertainment. Hopefully, put a smile on your face. And if time allows, maybe do a little karaoke for you. I know it'll make me feel better. And Mom, I know you're watching. So's Dad. Thank you guys for everything. And Mom, I miss you very much. It's not easy, but little by little, I feel your presence. And I hope you know I'm doing my best. I love you, and I always will. You and Dad. You instilled a lot in me. You may have been overprotected at times, but you meant well, and you kept me away from danger. We may have argued a lot, but I love you, both of you. And believe me, you're both missed. Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Let's get to it. Harry, do the announce. Live from the Tom O'Neill Memorial Studios in Park Forest, here in Jackson, Michigan. This is Steve Sporty Balls. A look at the latest in sports and entertainment news, scores, and everything else we can think of on the cheap. Now, here's our guy. He's going to make me cry too. Here's Steve. Okay, let's get on with it. We got an hour to kill, so thank you to those of you in the chat. And I'm going to have something to say at the end if I haven't said it in the beginning, but I'm going to say something at the end. So let's get on with the NFL. And as you know, the draft is coming. Detroit City, get ready for your night in the spotlight as we give you a look at the world of sports and entertainment. The sports world is, as always, provided to us by the good folks at CBS Sports and Live Score. Excuse me. So here we go. Day 2 of on-field drills at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis ended with tight ends demonstrating their athletic gifts inside the great Lucas Oil Stadium. This isn't a loaded tight end group like we saw a year ago. A few prospects elevated their stock with very strong performances, and there are those that need a little bit more seasoning. Some of the winners and losers from Friday's on-field drills in Indianapolis, starting with a look at the measurements of the prospects in the top 100 consensus rankings from CBS Sports. sports. All right. Brock Bowers of Georgia didn't compete in the information for the 40-yard dash, not available. Well, actually, he didn't. No, there was no non-availability for the 40-yard dash, the vertical jump, and the broad jump. So that's a little bit of a problem. Jetavan Sanders of Texas scored a 4.69 in the 40-yard dash. No information available for his vertical jump or the broad jump. Ben Sinot of Kansas State went 4.68 on the 40-yard dash. His vertical jump was 40 inches or 40 feet. No, 40 inches. What's two dots mean? And the broad jump, he went 10'6". Cade Stover of Ohio State did a 4.65 in the 40-yard dash. Went 34.5 feet. Yeah, that's feet. One is inch, two is feet. And his broad jump was 9'8". Now, let's give you to them separately. Brock Bowers of Georgia opted against working out at the combine and was seemingly such a lead on the rest of the tight ends in this class. That decision made perfectly good sense. He measured in just over 6'3" and 243 pounds with quality length, nearly 33 inches. No major changes needed. He scored. He didn't even score a rating. Jetavion Sanders. He's the folks at CBS Sports didn't think Saunders was a total burner at the tight end spot, barely running under 4.70 seconds. Surprised the folks at CBS Sports a bit, especially for someone who was a monster high school recruit and did hit plenty of long plays in college. We all would have loved to have seen some jumps from him too, but he decided to wait until his pro day. He does have big hands, over 10 inches, and that's a plus. Ben Sinot. Oh, by the way, his rating was a B. Ben Sinot of Kansas State, 4.68 second 40-yard dash for nearly 6'4" and 250 pounds. Sinot was rock solid, and his jumps were eye-opening. Now, it's rare we see tight ends hit 40 inches in the vertical, and the 10'6" broad jump will be close to the 94th percentile at the position since 99. At the combine, Sinot is in the discussion to be second or third tight end off the board now if he wasn't already before the combine. Cade Stover of Ohio State gets a B. His jumps didn't compare to Sinot's and a few other tight ends. He ran a respectable 40-yard dash in the group and weighed in at a respectable 247 pounds. Other winners of the night or day, as it were, Theo Johnson, Penn State, Devin Culp, Washington. And sadly, with winners, with every yin, there is a yang, especially in the world of sports. So, who were the Yangs? Brevin Spann-Ford of Minnesota. Not that anyone was expecting anything from him to light up Lucas Oil Stadium Friday night. But at 6'6" and a half and 260 pounds, close to Theo Johnson, he ran the second slowest 40-yard dash, had the lowest vertical at 31 and a half inches, and the shortest broad jump at 9'8". By the way, the 2024 NFL Draft will take place from April 25th to 27th in Detroit. And we won't be there, but we'll bring you a full report right here on this very broadcast. So, wow, there you go. What can I say? By the way, I made a little chocolate malt. Oh, tasty. Let's get to this, shall we? And again, we're at the 15-minute mark of this broadcast, although our clicker up here Says we've been on the air for 9 minutes. We've been on the air for about 10 minutes. By the way, for those of you watching, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, because we're giving this a go. So here we go, some more NFL news, and I told you we'd have some more NFL news. This offseason, hey, Taylor Swift greater than Disney Star Wars and MCU. Hi. By the way, a big hello to my favorite Southern Belle, Miss Mandy Summers, my Canadian brother, Dale Kwone, and the weirdest and wildest man, most creative individual, Mr. Shane Davies. They're doing the Baller Show on next door to our show, so feel free after we're gone to join them because they go on until about 5 o'clock. Now, the offseason free agent quarterback Baker Mayfield will have the opportunity to switch teams for the fourth time in 3 years, but it's possible he may have found a home, and I don't mean where the Buffalo roam. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may be his next stop. The former number one overall pick put up career numbers across the board last year, completing 64.3% of his passes for 4,044 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, while going 9-8 as the starter and winning the NFC South. Now, could his 2023 campaign lead to a lucrative contract from the Buccaneers or maybe a steal for another team? Mayfield is the only quarterback in NFL history to have 8 different head coaches in a 6-season span. He's also just the 4th quarterback all time to win playoff games for 2 different teams in his first 6 seasons. It's been reported that Mayfield and the Buccaneers have mutual interest in the quarterback returning next season. Mayfield found success with veteran wide receiver Mike Evans, who tied for the league lead with 13 touchdown receptions. However, Evans is also a free agent, which is an interesting factor that could affect what happens with Mayfield. So we're going to keep watching now. According to Sport Track market value tool, Mayfield could sign a 4-year, $108,512,500 contract, which carries an AAV of 27.1 mil. This deal would make him the number 18 highest paid quarterback, and the 27.1 mil AAV falls behind players like Jared Goff, Derek Carr, and Daniel Jones. Last year, Mayfield signed a fully guaranteed 1-year gig that included $4 million and was worth up to $8.5 million. Through, of course, those wonderful things we like to call incentives. The CBS Sports cap guru Joel Curry said a Derek Carr type deal makes sense this time around. So we wish him luck. But just in case the Tampa Bay Bucks aren't his cup of tea, there's some other spots. The Atlanta Falcons, perhaps. Mayfield leaving the Bucks for a division rival would be wild, but you never know what could happen if communication breaks down between Mayfield's camp and Jason Licht. The Falcons are absolutely in the mix for a new quarterback, and it seems like all options are on the table, whether it's trading for Justin Fields, drafting a quarterback in the first round, or exploring the market in free agency. How about the Las Vegas Raiders? He could jump one pirate ship for another, joining Antonio Pierce in Vegas. Pierce said at the combine that he doesn't want a band-aid at the most important position, so the quarterback-needy Raiders could be a team that offers Mayfield a multi-year extension. But going the veteran route yet again possibly isn't attractive to fans. Remember what happened with Garoppolo. What about the Steelers? They're probably the most fascinating team that may or may not be in the quarterback market. Will they roll Kenny Pickett? Could they trade for Fields? Will they draft one in the first round? How about that McCarty from Michigan? He's going to go in the first round, guarantee you, probably to the worst team in the NFL. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. How about the Broncos? Their main goal over the next week or so is to figure out how to get out of the Russell Wilson contract. The next goal will be for Sean Payton to find a quarterback he feels comfortable running his offense through. That quarterback could be Mayfield. If you don't believe me, believe the interview. However, don't put it past him to get the wonder kid from Michigan. So get ready, because here we come. But the number one place he might want to stay will be with Tampa Bay. They're the favorites to hold on to Mayfield. He is the only quarterback in NFL history to have 8 different coaches, head coaches, in 6 seasons. We don't need to explain it in fully. Just say, Mayfield, why leave a good thing? There you go. All right. Another NFL news. We do this in bunches. What can I tell you? Hey, what can I tell you? It's going to be one of those Fridays, you know? So here we go. Now I'm going to try it with another voice. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? mm. Mm. Homemade shake. The New York Giants quarterback situation is anything but settled. It's anything but normal. While we know Daniel Jones is still on the roster, Big Blue is willing to trade up in the first round to draft his possible successor, according to the sports network SNY. While they may want a quarterback who could possibly be Daniel Jones' successor, acquiring one. Yeah, I thought you were dead on your last stream. Yeah, I only fell asleep last stream, so I want to apologize for that. So much so, but what the hell? It's live. Anything can happen. Sorry. Yeah, no, I was a bit exhausted, Matt, and I do admit that sometimes exhaustion just makes me just want to go. But I'm not exhausted today. Not after about my 5th shake. Mm. Sorry, LDG. I scared everyone, and I apologize to everybody. Ain't going to happen again. I discovered a nice little way of making shakes. This was an unpredictable, unedited broadcast. I do promise that. Mm. Wow. Just be glad. Just be glad I don't do this naked. No one would want to see that. Trust me. Mm. Anyway, I am okay, LDJ. Thank you for your concern. Um, let's just get back to what we do best, shall we? Yes. Well, they may want a quarterback who could possibly be. Oh, I've already said that part. Acquiring one is not going to be. Is going to be a tough task. The Giants currently hold the 6th overall pick. Problem is that each of the first 3 teams currently slated to draft, the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots, are also in the market for a quarterback. Especially the Patriots. They want to see if they can get gold again like they did before with some guy named Brady. Now, there is a chance that one of those teams could give up their current spot, but that's not likely. No, that is not likely. If it did, it would come at a major cost, likely in the form of future high draft picks. That may also include a trade that includes Jones, although his salary may make dealing him a wee bit difficult. You're getting a new CP. You're getting a new little gig for your computer soon. That is good. Let's say let's read further. New York could also choose to stay put and see what falls for them at number 6. There's a very good chance Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May are all off the board by then. But one of those players falling to the Giants is not entirely off the table. Now, who really knows? Williams may ultimately pull that pick after he chose to skip medical exams at the scouting combine. That's shameful. Let's say each of those quarterbacks are off the board at number 6. That still leaves top prospects J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., and Bo Nix as possible options for the Giants. Can you imagine if the Giants went for McCarthy? That would be wild, but I have a feeling McCarthy is going to go to the Bears. We're going to find out. Other options would be selecting Spencer Rattler or Michael Pratt on each day, on either day 2 or day 3 of the draft. Would the Giants be willing to wait that long? Based off what General Manager Joe Schoen said earlier this week, they may very well be. So we will watch our eagle eyes on that little scenario. Don't forget, folks, in May, the NFL schedule comes out, and by hook or by crook, we will be bringing you the NFL schedules when they come out as part of our coverage here on Steve's Sporty Balls. Yay! All right. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, in wrestling action. Who have we got wrestling action tonight? Skull. Well, the man, the myth, the legend, the Stinger is about one day away from his final match. It's a tag match with his friend Darby Allin going up against the executive vice presidents of AEW, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Jimmy John. Anyway, Sting is ready for his swan song. The legendary wrestler will make one final walk to the ring Sunday night in Greensboro, North Carolina. Sting is ready for a swan song. The legendary wrestler for AEW will make one final walk to the ring Sunday night in Greensboro, North Carolina. Same arena where Ric Flair helped elevate him from a promising youngster to an emerging superstar. Sting links with Darby Allin for the 28th and last time as they defend the AEW Tag Team titles against the Young Bucks at AEW Revolution. He has been in this sport for 40 years. To survive all that, to put your body on the line is incredibly uncommon. To do so as a star for multiple organizations is nearly impossible. On Sunday, Sting will rewrite the final chapter in a story that was nearly written for him. Sting, whose real name, and for this case, our respect for the business goes very high. So in respect for the business, we salute the real man behind the face paint, Steve Borden. You can move on with no regrets for how it ended. The icon will be remembered for how he shaped so many people and promotions throughout his fabled career. Jerry Jarrett was a renowned wrestling promoter in Memphis beginning in the late 70s. One day, Jerry received a photo of 4 bodybuilders from Southern California. As Jeff Jarrett, his son, famous wrestler and promoter, Jeff Jarrett, told CBS Sports, they had wrestling tights and boots, but were very, very green, as we call it. Out of those 4 they sent, My father, Jerry, pointed to Steve Borden and Jim Hellwig. He got the two guys on the phone. Now, their lack of wrestling experience was a little issue. Wrestling could be taught, but presence that jumped off the page could not. Jerry opened the door for them to work in the territory system of the mid 80s. Sting and the Ultimate Warrior, Steve Borden and Jim Hellwig, drove cross country and arrived at Mr. Jarrett's, at Jeff Jarrett's home. And to say it his way, he'll never forget looking down from the second floor as they were walking up the sidewalk. I'm a junior in high school, a skinny little basketball player. They were two of the biggest guys I ever laid eyes on. I was like, holy fill in the blank. Following that meeting with Jerry, the come to be worldwide sensations lived the hard and financially perilous life of aspiring wrestlers on the low end of the match card, mostly out of Borden's car. The duo eventually wrapped up their time with Jerry in the Continental Wrestling Association, moving on to Cowboy Bill Watts' Universal Wrestling Federation as a Blade Runners. It was during this run that Borden adopted the moniker Sting, eventually forging out on his own after Hellwig left the promotion for some promotion called the WWE or WWF. WWF, either one of those initials. It didn't take long before Hellwig and Borden were quickly scooped up by major promotions. Hellwig, now in his warrior persona, quickly rose through the ranks of the WWF, today known as the WW Little E. Borden also found relatively fast success in the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, as part of Jim Crockett Promotions. It didn't take that long for Sting to become a major star. He wasn't one of those tremendous talkers like Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. He was different in that he shouted a lot. He screamed and he yelled. Fans bought into it. His excitement was contagious, said legendary wrestling commentator, AEW's own Tony Schiavone. The initial version of Sting in the NWA was a bleach blonde, neon-colored dynamo. The promotion was quick to show their belief in Borden's potential star power, placing him in the opening match of Starrcade, the NWA's first ever pay-per-view broadcast in '87. Borden's rise culminated in a legendary showdown with World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. 3 years after first lacing his boots, Sting headlined the inaugural Clash of Champions in '88 against the living legend. Sting and Flair wrestled to a 45-minute time limit draw. It was the 23rd singles match between the two men, but none was as important as the meeting at the Clash of Champions, which aired live on TBS head-to-head with WWF's WrestleMania 4 pay-per-view. It meant everything in the world. Borden told CBS Sports, it meant everything in the world to me. Anybody who had the opportunity to work with Ric Flair knew they'd hit the big time. They struck gold. For me as a young kid a couple of years ago, or a couple of years in the business, to be thrust into that position was validating. I felt validated, end quote. The NWA needed a marketable act to move merchandise and lure advertisers. Character that could cover posters, star in commercials, and drive action figure sales. Sting had the traction with the audience. He just needed a nudge over the edge. And as Tony Schiavone said to CBS Sports, Flair was a master at making people stars, and Sting was one of those stars he made on that day. The trust that the NWA put into Sting, a relatively unproven commodity, cannot be understood. The promotion was relying on Borden to headline an event directly opposite WrestleMania, a spectacle featuring massive stars such as Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, and the Ultimate Warrior. The decision to counter-program WrestleMania 4 was largely retaliatory after WWF owner Vince McMahon threatened that anyone who aired Starrcade couldn't broadcast Survivor Series, WWF's other pay-per-view, or WrestleMania. Now, a lot of the cable systems, as Schiavone said in an interview, turned and ran from Jim Crockett Promotions. The attempt was at that time for Jim Crockett Promotions, because of the clearance he had on TBS at that time, would be the leader of the NWA promoters trying to battle back Vince going national. Clash of Champions, as you know, was a live event on TBS, was probably the biggest blow we had against Vince McMahon at that time. And it was great. It wasn't just the response that spurred Crockett to put his chips behind Sting. The wrestler's attitude played a role. Despite his relative lack of experience, Borden was wise beyond his years. Yes, he may have been young, but boy, was his thinking on course. For years, Sting was a cornerstone of the NWA, which eventually mostly consolidated and rebranded as World Championship Wrestling. Sting held several championships, including the World Heavyweight title twice, as the wrestling landscape began to change rapidly. Cool began to reign supreme over the long-standing little fiesta between the simple concept of good versus evil. Borden could see the writing on the wall as fans began to turn on even the biggest star wrestling has ever seen. And Borden recalled, I thought they were booing Hulk Hogan now everywhere we go. It's just a matter of time now before they start booing me. They're going to get sick of the blonde hair and neon colors. I need to change. Hogan found his path to a new life when he teamed with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's New World Order in '96, July. The NWO became an immediate sensation, and Hogan's turn to the dark side, complete with a dyed beard and Jimi Hendrix's Voodoo Child as entrance music, freshened him up in the eyes of fans. Later that year, Borden was walking down a hotel lobby in South Dakota when he found WCW creative boss Eric Bischoff having a convo with Hall. Borden knew the existing version of the Sting character was on its last legs in a wrestling era more focused on shades of gray, but it was Hall who laid the foundation for the necessary change, channeling the '94 film The Crow. Scott took hold of that character from the movie and said, "You have that scary, spooky look coming down from the crowd," Bischoff told CBS Sports. As Scott Hall was creating this character in real time, I sat back and looked around. Everybody's hanging on every word he says. Now, taking a proven commodity like Sting and dramatically transforming it is a big gamble. Bischoff did not hesitate. And yes, friends, it was truly a masterful stroke of genius. And to this day, was something fun. Sting's evolution to his Crow persona was laid brick by brick over multiple months. First, on the October 21st, 1996 episode of Nitro, he appeared wearing white face paint in a style that reminded all of us of his surfer character. That night was the last time Sting spoke on camera for more than a year. He spent the next several months watching from the rafters while everyone from baby faces, the good guys, to the heels, the bad guys, in the NWO tried to wrap their heads around his motives. It was a scary moment, but there was no coming back. While Borden's career had a new sense of momentum, his life was spiraling behind the scenes. The man behind the fresh black and white face paint was battling an addiction to painkillers, which he started taking due to trouble sleeping. Borden wrote in a 2022 article for the Players Tribune, quote, "I knew how dark it could get. I saw it all around me. I saw guys drop to the floor and start having seizures. I saw guys get paddles to the chest and clear and get brought back to life. I went to friends' funerals, but by '98, it was inconceivable to me to stop taking painkillers. The mental and physical addiction was so intense and so deep that I knew I was probably going to die, but there was nothing I could do about it. I was just blank," end quote. Borden had repeatedly lied to his wife about his substance abuse, but it came to a tipping point in '98. Quote, "I don't know why, but I simply could not lie anymore. I looked in her eyes and I told her everything," Borden wrote. "She fell in a heap on the floor, crying her eyes out. She couldn't even speak. She couldn't stand up. I had to carry her over to the bed. Words can't do that moment justice. I betrayed my wife and my kids. I was completely broken. I went into the closet. I got down on my hands and knees, and I literally begged God to help me," end quote. Borden had a spiritual revelation that day. He's been sober ever since. He doesn't make a habit of pushing his faith onto others, but ask how he stayed grounded in an industry teeming with massive egos, and you'll see how profoundly he is guided by faith. Quote, "My belief in God My belief in Jesus Christ had graced on my life. I can't say enough about that. Anything good that has ever come out of me, my dad taught me a lot, but we were a dysfunctional family and imperfect. You introduced Christ into our family. My dad was a born again believer as well in his later years. Me too. In my later years. That's where I think I could put all the credit is there for God. I give God all the glory and credit for all the good that ever came out of me. Final episode Nitro aired on March 26, 2001, after the promotion was purchased by McMahon and the WWE appropriately. That final Nitro was headlined by Sting versus Flair. And after that, everything changed. History began. Borden then aligned perfectly with TNA, which emerged as leading the alternative to WWE. The TNA folks gave Borden the creative freedom to preserve his character. In return, he lent his credibility to the company and helped establish future stars like AJ Styles, Kristen Cage, Samoa Joe, and Ron the Truth Killings, otherwise known as R-Truth. The only trouble, and it took nearly 30 years after he began wrestling for Borden to make his debut in the WWE. His arrival at the end of Survivor Series in 2014 brought fans closer than ever to one of the wrestling's biggest dream matches, Sting versus The Undertaker. Making that dream a reality drove Borden to the WWE. Sting lost a bizarre match to Triple H at WrestleMania 31 when he took a back seat to a convoluted time warp involving NWO and D-Generation X. He had a few subsequent matches involving The Big Show, John Cena, before facing Seth Rollins at Night of Champions in 2015. In that match, Sting suffered a legitimate neck injury, taking a powerbomb into the turnbuckles. Borden finished the match only to immediately be fitted into a neck brace and hospitalized. Doctors feared that Borden suffered cervical spinal stenosis, which generally caused by changes in the joints between those vertebrae. Borden later refused surgery, claiming it would end his career because he was not experiencing symptoms typically associated with cervical spinal stenosis. However, the injury encouraged him to retire. Borden announced his first retirement from pro wrestling during his WWE Hall of Fame induction speech in 2016. The retirement snuffed out the final hopes of ever seeing Sting versus Undertaker. But when All Elite Wrestling launched in 2019, becoming the most significant North American alternative to WWE since WCW, nearly 2 years after the brand's formation, Sting appeared on its flagship show, AEW Dynamite. Perhaps it was fate that Dynamite aired on TNT, the same network that broadcast Nitro, and his final match in WCW. Sting's run with AEW has been nothing short of remarkable. His consistency as a performer and willingness to take risks, often in the form of leaps from great heights onto his opponents, has been extraordinary for someone pushing 65. And as Borden prepares for one final match in front of 16,000 plus fans, he's reminded this was never the plan. I didn't want to have real wrestling matches. I just didn't have the confidence in myself that I'd be able to pull it off. Well, you did, and you did good. While cinematic matches seemed viable for Sting, those around him had more in mind. Borden thought he might be able to compete in one final in-ring match. Darby Allin, who has partnered with Sting for all 27 of his AEW matches, and company president Tony Khan and former executive vice president Cody Rhodes told him he had a lot left in the tank. And on Sunday, we will witness history. And I'm telling you this, there's going to be a lot of people online going, we got to put this on. We're not one of those. But we will, for the first time ever, offer our own commentary when the match begins. We will offer our own commentary. We won't show the pictures or anything, but we will make sure you at least get to hear it. Hear our little version of things. We will, of course, bring you everything and anything, folks, from Revolution on Sunday night's Little Edition at 11:30. Now, we know Revolution will continue to probably around midnight Eastern time, but we will give you the results as soon as we can. Speaking of results, we got to do some scores for you, so let us do that. Told you this was going to be a big show. Just didn't tell you how big. Let's go to it. Let's go. NBA. We have 2 games still going on right now. 7:24 left to play in regulation. Milwaukee Bucks lead the Chicago Bulls 99-76. 22 seconds left in the third. Clippers lead the Wizards 110-85. Cavaliers over the Pistons 110-100. 76ers over the Hornets 121-114. Celtics over the Mavericks 138-110. Warriors over the Raptors 120-105. Pelicans over the Pacers 129-102. Kings over the Timberwolves in overtime 124-120. And the Trailblazers beat the Grizzlies 122-92 in an embarrassment for the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's give you the look at the standings as... Thank you. Let's get back to where we were. Come on. Thank you. We're going to give you the standings as of this moment. Let's do that right now, as a matter of fact. Here's the standings in the Eastern Conference. The Atlantic Division, Celtics are the top dogs at 47-12. Knicks are in second, 12.5 games back at 35-25. 76ers in third, 13 games back at 34-25. The Nets are fourth with 23-36, 24 games back. The Raptors at 25.5 games back at 22-38 are in fifth place. By the way, can we... let's instead of the Eastern Western, let's just go conference, okay? Okay, the top 6 teams of the Eastern Conference are the Celtics, Cavaliers in second, the Bucks in third, Knicks in fourth, 76ers in fifth, and the Magic in sixth. The 7th, 8th, and 9th plateau belong to the Heat at 33-26. In 7th place, the Pacers in 8th with 33-27. The Bulls in 9th at 28-31. And the Hawks in 10th at 26-33. The others who are about ready to get the big old E as an elimination. The Brooklyn Nets 23-36. Raptors in 12th at 22-38. The Hornets in 13th at 15-45. Wizards in 14th at 9-50. And the Pistons also at 9-50. Both teams are 38-0 and about a percentage spot. In the Western Conference, it is the Timberwolves, the Thunder. The Timberwolves in first, Thunder in second, just by a half game. Nuggets in third, Clippers in fourth, Suns in fifth, and the sixth are the Pelicans. The bottom 4, the 7 through 10 spot belongs to the Kings in 7th, Mavericks in 8th, Warriors in 9th, and the Lakers in 10th, but they're just clinging. Jazz, Rockets, and Grizzlies, along with the Trailblazers and Spurs, 11th through 15th. Teams ranked 7 to 10 will participate in a play-in tournament at the end of the regular season to determine the final 2 playoff teams. That's right. So right now, Kings and Mavericks hold the destiny in their own hands. Warriors and Lakers, they got a long road to climb. And there you go, right there. There is the fun stats of the day. Let's go now for more. Time to get you a little NC2A men's basketball. 15:19 left to play in regulation. It is Utah State 47, Air Force 40. Final score, Loyola of Chicago 77 to Dayton 72. In the long, everything is a final there. Women's basketball now. In overtime, Hawaii leads beat UC Davis 63 to 57. Yale defeated Cornell 79-72. Columbia beat Brown 77-62. They found out what Brown couldn't do for them. Coastal Carolina over Georgia State 74-62. Penn over Dartmouth 79-41. Princeton over Harvard 60-49. Marshall over Georgia Southern 90-43. Louisiana over Southern Mississippi in overtime 58-57, a squeaker. Texas State over University of Louisville Monroe 76-73. Stony Brook over Drexel 60-58. James Madison a 70-58 winner over Old Dominion. Troy over South Alabama 108-71. North Carolina A&T over Northeastern 69-55. And remember, folks, 69 is a very workable number. William and Mary, I heard about those two, didn't you? Beat UNCW 68-50. Hampton over Hofstra 48-42. Townsend over Charleston, made in Carolina 67-55. Murray State over Evansville 85-59. Campbell over Delaware 66-65. Belmont over Indiana State 87-62. Appalachian State over Arkansas, or for those of you down south, Arkansas State 64-57. The second round, the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches in Palm Beach, Florida, was suspended. So here's the top kilohops, the top golfers. Bud Cauley leads right now at 11 under par. Two-way tie for second between Austin Eckroat and Garrick Hegel at -10. Tie in fourth place between Kevin Yu and Victor Perez at 9 under. And now the fun part. We got Major League Baseball spring training as it winds down last month before the big season comes up. Some teams did split squads. By the way, we have to remind you of that. So here we go. Okay, we got everyone? Good. Okay. All final scores, no kidding. Tigers over the Phillies, 4-2. Twins over the Red Sox, 5-3. Orioles over the Braves, 3-1. The Astros over the Nationals, no garbage cans were allowed in, 10-8. Marlins and Phillies ended at a 6-6 tie. You know, that's what baseball should have. Yeah. They should have win, losses, and ties. They should go with it. Might make things fascinating. And it might really shorten the game. Just a thought. I'm a traditionalist. Pirates 12, Tampa Bay Rays 8. Cardinals beat the Mets 3-2. Royals beat the Athletics 5-4. Cubs whipped the White Sox 10-6. Giants whipped the Rangers 11-5. Brewers over the Padres 4-3. Afterwards, the Brewers had to say 100 Hail Marys for beating the Padres, which is Spanish for father, minister, you know. Anyway, continuing. Angels over the Padres. That's a split squad game. Padres did. Angels 5. The Padres B team 3. Rockies over the Mariners 10-9. Yankees over the Blue Jays 8-4. Diamondbacks over the Reds. Can we get back there, please? Thank you. Diamondbacks over the Reds 12-8. And the Dodgers over the Guardians 6-4. Let's go now to the NHL. 3 games scheduled. One is still continuing. 8:46 left to play in regulation. The Mighty Ducks 4. Actually, the Anaheim Not So Mighty Ducks 4. The New Jersey Devils 2. The Arizona Coyotes 5, Senators 3, Capitals 5, Flyers 2. In the great game of soccer in La Liga, Celta de Vigo 1, Almera 0. In Liga MX, Santos Laguna 1, Querétaro 0. Atletico San Luis 4, Puebla 0. Mazatlan over Necaxa 2-1. In Das Bundesliga, it was Freiburg and Bayern Munich ending in a 2-2 tie. AC Milan over Lazio 1-0. In Ligue 1, Monaco and Paris Saint-Germain ended up in a goose egg tie. In Argentinian Premier Division soccer, Tigre over Central Cordoba SDE 1-0. Platense over Racing Club. No. Tied with Racing Club at goose eggs. Banfield over Deportivo Riestra 2-0. If you think that's it for scores, you're wrong. We got more scores. How can we get more scores, you may ask? I will answer you, because we do. So let's give you scores aplenty. That's right. And a thing we like to call the extended scoreboard. Sponsored in part by the kind, considerable folks at livescore.com. That will get you some entertainment headlines. And that should be the end of that for tonight. Except for what I got to say. So we may go overtime again. Okay, kiddies. Let's punch it up. The Friday match. I think we've... Friday. Thank you. Ole. Okay, another soccer scores. In the Premier League, England. Oh, wait a minute. We hit the wrong button. Can we get Friday, please? We're working with today. We know Saturday has not completely ended. In England Championship soccer action, West Bromwich Albion defeated Coventry City 2-1. Yes, sir. 2-1. Anyone here in the United States we're playing? Anything will do, tap dance. Yes, we're doing the NPL in Queensland, Australia. Okay, let's go to New South Wales and okay, let's not say we did. Let's go to Queensland. They're still playing. They're not even started yet. NPL Queensland, Gold Coast Knights defeated Gold Coast United 2-1. Lions defeated the Rochdale Rovers 3-2. And Olympic defeated Redlands United 3-1. In South Australia, 2 games have ended. The other 2 have yet to begin. Adelaide City beat Para Hills Knights 3-2. And the Adelaide Comets smack-dabbed on South Adelaide 5-0. In Victoria, we've got a lot. In Victoria, Heidelberg United over Green Gully Cavaliers 3-0. Dandenong City and Oakley Cannons tied at 1. Avondale over Moorland City 1-0. In Queensland Premier League action, it was the Southside Eagles over the Eastern Suburbs 3-2. And I think we're going to end it there because we got... And in A-League women's action, it was Western United 4, Canberra United 2. And if there's nothing else from our little corner of the vicious world, then we are completely done with the soccer. Let's go with the hockey and with basketball as well. Let's do that. Let's go for some hockey action, some hockey scores. Friday division, thank you. Okay. In the OHL, Saginaw Spirit beat the Brantford Bulldogs 4-3. Flint Firebirds over the Windsor Spitfires 7-3. Erie Otters beat Kingston Frontenacs 5-3. Kitchener Rangers over the London Knights 4-3. Ottawa 67s over the Mississauga Steelheads 4-3. Sudbury Wolves over the Sarnia Sting 10-3. Oshawa Generals over Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds 4-3. Guelph Storm over Owen Sound Attack 3-2. In the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League action, Balacomeo over St. John Sea Dogs 5-2. Drummondville Volt Eagles over the Charlottetown Islanders 8-2. Gatineau Olympique over the Val d'Or Fiors 7-1. Royan Noranda Huskies over the Chicoutimi Sanguines 7-4. Sherbrooke Phoenix over the Shawinigan Cataractes 3-2, and the Blainfield Boisbon Armada over the Victorville Tigers 2-1. In the WHL it was Prince Albert Raiders taking on the Brandon Wheat Kings 2-1. Final score: Lethbridge Hurricanes over the Saskatoon Blades 4-1. Medicine Hat Tigers over the Edmonton Oil Kings 7-4. Swift Current Broncos over Red Deer Rebels 7-5. In third period, it is Seattle Thunderbirds 5, Kamloops Blazers 3. In third period action, more third period action than you can believe. Prince George Cougars and Spokane Chiefs tied at 4. Kelowna Rockets over the Vancouver Giants 4-3. In overtime, Moose Jaw Warriors and the Everett Silvertips tied at 7. And another completed game, Victoria Royals over the Tri-City Americans 5-4. Let's now tackle the fun-loving thing we like to call the AHL. Do we have that? Yes, we do. Rochester Americans over the Belleville Senators 4-1. Chicago Wolves over the Cleveland Monsters 4-1. Grand Rapids Griffins over the Iowa Wild 4-3. Hartford Wolfpack over the Laval Rocket 2-1. Syracuse Crunch over the Toronto Marlies 3-2. Utica Comets over the Lehigh Valley Phantoms 3-0. Providence Bruins over the Springfield Thunderbirds 4-2. Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins over the Charlotte Checkers 4-1. Rockford Ice Hogs over the Milwaukee Admirals 4-2. Colorado Eagles over the Calgary Wranglers 5-4. Coachella Valley Firebirds over the Bakersfield Condors 4-1. In third period, it is Tucson Roadrunners and the Henderson Silver Knights, a 3-3 tie. And the Ontario Reign lead the San Diego Gulls 3-0. That is that, and I know we got. We're going to go overtime, kids, because we got one more little item to give you, and that is basketball. Let's hit the Friday, and maybe we'll hit a couple of entertainment news blurbs. Let's see what we got here. Quickly, Basketball Super League in Canada. The London Lightning beat the Newfoundland Rogues 118-94. Do we have anything from the land down under? By the way, their football season starts shortly. We will bring you their little Fun Fest fiesta. Okay, guess what? We're done on that. We're going 3 minutes overtime. So let's make this one a very special night. Okay, Diamond Sport. Ooh, well, this is news from our friends at Awful Announcing. Remember how Sinclair Broadcasting got the former Fox Sportsnet regional sports networks, and they had Bally be the end for about, I don't know how many dollars, how many millions of dollars. They signed Bally Casinos and Exercise Places as the official name, Bally Sports Net. Well, the Bally Sports Regional Sports Networks will continue operating in 2024, but the Bally Sports branding won't past this year. Sportico is reporting in the Diamond Sports Group reorganization plan filed Thursday evening. There's a section about the naming rights agreement with Bally's as part of Diamond's near $500 million settlement with Sinclair. The naming rights deal will be rejected by Diamond, though the branding will remain in place through the 2024 Major League Baseball season. They say, as part of the proposed reorganization, Diamond will extricate itself from the legacy naming rights deal with Bally Corporation that its parent company, Sinclair, inked on November 18th, 2020. At the time of the transaction, Sinclair received various warrants and options with respect to the common stock of Bally's, valued at more than $184 million. For its part, Diamond was set up to generate approximately $88 million in naming rights fees from Bally's over a span of 10 years. Now, according to the disclosure document, under terms of Diamond's $495 million settlement with Sinclair, Bally's commercial agreement will be rejected, and Bally's will release and waive any claims against Diamond, including any claims for rejection damages. That said, Diamond may, continue to use the Bally's trade name at no cost to Diamond through the end of the 2024 Major League Baseball season. The original naming rights deal between Sinclair and Bally's was struck in November 2020, paying just $85 million over 10 years. In a lawsuit filed by Diamond against Sinclair last summer, its former parent company, Diamond alleged that Sinclair wrongfully caused Diamond to transfer more than $1.5 billion in cash and other considerations to and or for the benefit of Sinclair. The suit was settled this week as part of Diamond's reorganization plan, with Diamond receiving $495 million from Sinclair. Gee, I wonder why they closed up local television news departments for. Sinclair's naming rights deal with Bally was derided from the start by fans, and further integration with sports betting and the Bally Sports app never came about. Diamond will now go on the hunt for a new naming rights deal, which will hopefully be in place for the start of the 24-25 NBA and NHL seasons in the fall. If the deal can't be reached with the company, there's nothing wrong with simply rebranding the RSNs as Diamond Sports. Holy cats and jammers. So it is all over. Huzzah. Let's get you a little cord cutter news. Tubi is one of the largest free live TV streaming services with thousands of movies and TV episodes available on demand. Tubi also offers hundreds of live TV channels for free. Those free live channels also included local news from Fox affiliates around the country. Now, though, Tubi is making changes to how it offers free live local news programs in each TV market. In the past, through Tubi, you can access local news from Fox affiliates across the country, not just the ones you lived in. Now, Tubi is going to only be showing local Fox stations news in each market. That means you can only watch your local news, but not news from around the United States that are located outside of your TV market, those rat bastards. I know we're going over time, so let me enjoy. Tubi recently updated their linear offerings to help users find local news channels most relevant to them more easily by only showing local news available in the viewer's nearest DMA. This all comes as Tubi has refreshed its look both with a new logo and with a refreshed app appearance. This new logo and look come with Tubi's new rabbit hole marketing. Tubi is letting everyone know it has content and way more than they would expect. The newly updated look at the Tubi app will be coming soon to Roku, Fire TV, mobile, and many other devices if you don't already have it. So there we go on that side. More little entertainment news from our friends over at Broadcasting and Cable. Broadcast stations are looking to keep more of their distribution revenue by changing the way they pay networks for programming, especially sports, to a variable payment model from a fixed reverse compensation free. Cord cutting has slowed the growth of station retransmission consent payments. Thank you. Which are calculated on a per subscriber basis. If pay TV churn accelerates, retrans payments could shrink while networks continue to get their fixed fees from stations. That would pressure profit margins for the affiliates. Station groups want the networks to share the wealth. So get ready, folks. Things are looking very nice. For the viewer, who cares? But if you're a state TV station or a network, you got to do something. to get some of that cheddar. So there you go. Boop. Let's get over to one more little Diamond Dasher here. The Chosen Secret Season 4 gets an exciting streaming release update. We'll tell you about that tomorrow. Vice is no more. The executives abruptly laid off all the workers at the end town hall meeting after a downpour of thumbs down emojis, thus the end of the line for such a unique service. By the way, Freevee is adding 14 new free channels. The Red Wings unveil New Jersey patch sponsorship, and fans are not happy. No kidding. Paramount bidder mandate to sell $3 billion in stock to fund the national amusements deal. Who is the bidder? Skydance Media and Redbird Capital may have to sell $3 billion of the entertainment giant's stock to fund a potential purchase of National Amusements, the company that controls Paramount through the Redstone family. David Ellison, who runs Skydance Media and wants to merge the studio with Paramount, would not offer anything to boop. Come on. Boop. David would not offer anything to Paramount common holders under his proposal to acquire National Amusement, according to reporting from CNBC's David Faber on Thursday. We'll give you a little bit more of that on our next broadcast. Let's see, we got a lot more to give you, so we'll do that all tomorrow. Now, let me just do this. 3 years ago, that's how long it's been. And the road since my mom passed, frankly, has not been very kind. In ways it has. And I thank you all for keeping your eye on me, for thinking of me, for asking how I've been, how I feel. Am I all right? For all your concerns, for all your prayers, I thank you. As you can see, I'm in a very good place right now. I'm hoping to stay here for a long time. I've got a lot to learn, and I do have a lot of mistakes to correct still. I am not done grieving. I am not perfect. Nobody is. I have my good days and my bad days. And all of you have been very nice, very kind. And to my mom and dad, I said it in the open. I will say it in the close. You may not have raised a perfect son, but I thank you so much for all you've taught me. I may not have understood it then, but I understand now, especially when my mom protected me like she did. I may have had bumps and bruises down the road, but that heart attack sort of got me on the straight and narrow. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank people like Matthew the Wizard Nichols, his folks, Jerry, Nancy. I want to thank everybody involved with Comicsgate. I want to thank Piper, Fizzgiggity. I want to thank the gang from the Cotton Council and the Tuck and Roll Show. I want to thank people like Phil, TMNT. I want to thank LDG. I want to thank Mac G. I want to thank Dandelion Fluff. I want to thank Christine, the Killer Car, Sant Ravage. I want to thank Chris, Honstar. I have a lot of people to thank. I want to thank Mandy Summers. I want to thank Charlie's London and Yan, excuse me. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Deej. I want to thank a whole lot of people. But one person I really want to thank most is the man upstairs. And Mom, if you're watching, I say it and I mean it. I love you. I miss you and Dad. And to my dad, I love you too. Both of you. We may have argued and had our differences of opinion. But I love you both. And I always will. And to my cat Uno, it's almost time for our reunion. I just hope I fix things in time to make it stick. Thank you, everybody, because without you, I would have been dead. And thanks to people like Felipe, for Carlos, for Kyle, for people at Lifeways, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, the people at the Epileptic Outreach Center, people at Segway, people like Ann, Stephanie, people at J-Town, Fernando, Melissa, Casey, Rhea, Deborah, Corey, all my friends. The list is long, and if I can say all of their names, we would be here for 3 days. I thank you all very much. I love you all. I cherish you. And my prayers go to you all. Be safe. Be healthy. Stay well. And above all, blessings. This has been a presentation of Mystifying Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network. I'll be back tomorrow night at 11:35. But for now, I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley. And as the new ending goes for the podcast when it returns, and or our Twitchcast when it returns or begins, he is the Marine, he is the Wizard, I am the Baxman. Cuckoo Cuckoo. Thank you. Until we meet again tomorrow. To borrow a line from a well-known great New York news anchorman. Good night and be well.